He could have done it on the day he took his rest. After he gazed over his creation, can you imagine the beauty of God's best, still so fresh? It could have been a wrap when the brother betrayed the one he was supposed to be keeping, or when he spoke to Hagar in the wilderness as she was weeping. But he had just begun when his people crossed the desert. The story was just unfolding when he rained manna from heaven, when he brought down the walls of Jericho and lifted up the spirit of Elijah, only so that he may return to prepare the way of the Lord. Or he could have called it done with the birth of his son, but he didn't stop there. It would have been enough if he had healed just one pair of eyes, just one man who was blind now being able to see, just one soul being set free. And it would not diminish the impact of his story. It would in no way take away the reality of this glory. He would still be Yahweh. But he went on anyway. Now look at us. Look at how far we've come. You knew that there was still so much that was left undone. Together through the decades, God has brought thousands of young people unto himself. Some of those young people went home to their parents and shared about Jesus, and after years of working and acquiring degrees, perhaps for the first time, they realized the real wealth. God has done a work inside of something no one thought would work. The idea of campus ministry and college students coming to church. Indeed. And look at how far we've come. He could have stopped so long ago, but there was still so much that was and is left undone in and around us. I know sometimes for me, it is tempting to want to just go and do things myself. But sometimes that just makes things worse, and that really doesn't help. Like in Galatians, when Paul had to ask the people, what God has already started and is working on at his own pace, are you now trying to build upon this perfect foundation with your flesh and worldly ways? It looks unfinished when I can't see him. But God is not inactive, and he is not a man that he should lie. If he says he's going to finish, he will finish, and he will finish on time. But I look at the clock and lose sight of reality, getting stuck in my mind and my accuser's fallacies when I listen to the voice that says God is late. And I begin to question, did God really even start? And at that point, I forgot we do not serve a God of haste. But his ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. And this is the hope that should give us strength to keep doing what we ought. Act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with the Lord your God. And though the work gets hard, no matter who the head of state is, these occupations are available, and love is more secure than any other investment stock. The business of redemption and renewal will never be done. It is in high demand. We ask for it, gasp for it like the last breath of air in the sun's lungs when he won and caught it done. So complete, yet so unfinished, because what he did within himself only happened so he could turn around and do it within us. He was done, but he knew he still had unfinished business. That is why he knew he had to come down off the cross, out of the tomb, up to the Father's side, sending his spirit into our hearts. And believe it or not, that still wasn't the last part. Death, he beat it. The grave defeated. And even as we are still sinning, he commits what looks like treason and transforms his enemies into saints and sons. And then, even then, in his patience, he will not give up on us. In his grace, he doesn't wait for us to have it all together. He sends us out in the process with power, purpose, now or never. Go and make disciples, even as I am discipling you. Those who will be kings are those who for my sake are willing to look like fools, even though sometimes says God, it's really not for me, but sometimes it's just because of you. But I love you anyway. And as the artist, it is just my style to leave this painting without a finish, because if done just right, those imperfections become your witness of me. Those unfinished parts I call art, when brought together display my glory and make the world wonder. Who are these imperfect people that try to bring our intelligence and reason asunder? He is the way, he is the life, and he is the truth. And he is not finished with us. He is not finished with you. So, with that said, friends and family, He is the master, and we are the pieces. And when we look through His eyes and take on His mind, it is impossible not to see this. The beauty, intentionality, and plan of God. The spirit that has driven each one of our hearts. The story that is so perfect, yet that does not make sense. The path of a God that has no beginning and has no end. But in all of this, let us never forget to look around and not miss the miracle, the mercy, and the meaning in and among His unfinished business.